All right, get ready, because today we are taking a deep dive into gratitude.
Yeah, the power of gratitude.
And we're going deep.
Really deep.
I mean, way past just, like saying thank you.
Right.
We've got excerpts from a book called The Gratitude Effect, and we've got some really interesting insights from a Japanese translation of the book, too.
Yeah, and what's interesting is how this book sort of positions gratitude as this, almost force of nature.
Right.
That impacts not just our personal happiness,
Yeah.
but the whole world around us.
Okay, so before we get, too whoop,
Yeah.
let's back up for a sec. What exactly is this gratitude effect?
Right.
And, how's it supposed to change our lives?
Yeah, well, the Japanese translation, the introduction, I think, really sums it up well. Basically says, gratitude, it's not just good manners,
Right.
it's like a fundamental law governing our well-being.
Okay.
By acknowledging the good, we're not just being polite, we're actually shifting our whole perspective
Interesting.
towards a happier existence.
Okay, so it's less about, waiting for good things to happen and more about, actively recognizing who's already good.
Yeah.
Kind of like choosing to see the glass half full.
Precisely. And what's really interesting is that both versions of the book suggest that this isn't just some self-help trick.
Right.
It's actually tied to this idea of universal balance.
Okay, all right, so here come the cosmic vibes.
Yeah.
We've got grand organized design. We've got spirit of unconditional love.
Yeah.
Pretty heady stuff. How does gratitude fit into all of that?
Well, think of it this way. The book uses this analogy of scales.
Okay.
Everything tends towards equilibrium. When we focus on laugh, it's like we're piling all these weights onto one side, and it throws things off balance.
So gratitude is almost like adding weight to the positive side.
Exactly.
To bring things back into harmony.
Exactly. And this grand organized design,
Yeah.
or what the book sometimes refers to as God,
Yeah.
is like the force that's seeking that balance.
Okay.
So gratitude becomes our way of aligning with that force.
Aligning with it.
And
Okay.
tapping into that spirit of unconditional love that connects everything.
So I'm starting to see how they're connecting these big concepts to real life.
Right.
But the book also gets practical, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, the table of contents in both versions mentions chapters on improving our work, our finances, even family dynamics,
Yeah.
all through gratitude.
Yeah, and looking at both the English and Japanese versions, it's clear that they really see gratitude as applicable to any situation.
Right.
For instance, there's a chapter called Turn Your Job into Your Calling.
Right.
Suggesting that we can be grateful for the opportunity to use our skills and turn work from a chore into something meaningful.
Yeah. So instead of complaining about our boss, we're grateful for the chance to learn and grow.
Right.
I could see how that would be powerful.
Yeah.
What about becoming a money magnet?
Oh, yeah.
Does that mean that if I'm grateful for the $5 in my pocket right now, millions will magically appear?
Well, not quite. But the concept is that by focusing on the abundance that we already have,
Okay.
even if it seems small,
Yeah.
we're actually shifting our energy and attracting more prosperity.
Hey, interesting.
It's not about wishful thinking,
Right.
but it's about aligning ourselves with the flow of abundance.
Okay, so instead of stressing about bills,
Yeah,
we're grateful for the roof over our heads,
right.
which then opens us up to new financial possibilities.
Yeah, exactly.
It seems like this gratitude thing is less about what we have
Yeah,
and more about how we view it.
exactly. And, that ties into another key idea on the Japanese version,
Okay,
this concept of awakening your divine potential.
back to the cosmic stuff.
Yeah,
What does divine potential even mean?
right.
Are we going to suddenly develop superpowers because we said thank you?
Not exactly superpowers, but think of it as unlocking
Okay.
a deeper sense of purpose and fulfillment.
Oh, okay.
The Japanese translation actually lays out 5 steps to do this, starting with self-reflection.
Okay, so before we can even be grateful, we need to understand ourselves better.
That's right.
Okay.
It's about looking inward, figuring out our values,
Yeah.
what truly matters to us.
Okay,
Only then can we align our actions with those values,
right.
which naturally leads to expressing gratitude for what we already have.
So it's gratitude becomes a byproduct of living authentically.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Interesting.
And then the final step, serving others, suggests that this isn't just about personal gain.
Right.
It's about using our newfound sense of purpose to make a positive impact on the world.
Okay, so we figure out who we are, we act accordingly, we feel grateful for that alignment,
Yeah,
and then we use it to help others.
exactly.
It's like this chain reaction
Yeah.
of positive energy.
It is.
And this idea of divine potential
Yeah,
suggests that gratitude is about way more than just feeling good.
yeah.
It's about unlocking our best selves
Mm-hmm.
and contributing to something bigger than ourselves.
It is.
Right. I'm officially intrigued.
Good.
So we've got gratitude,
Yeah.
this force for balance.
Right.
It's impacting our happiness, our finances, everything.
Yeah.
Plus this whole divine potential thing, which adds another layer of depth.
It does.
But before we get too lost in the big picture,
Right.
how do we actually do this gratitude thing?
Yeah. How do we actually cultivate more of it in our daily lives?
Exactly.
That's where things get really exciting. And that's what we're going to dive into in part 2.
All right, so stay tuned because we're just getting started with this deep dive into gratitude.
We are.
So we talked about why gratitude is so powerful, but now I want to know how to actually, like cultivate more of it in my daily life.
Yeah.
You teased something called magic triggers before,
I did.
which sound pretty intriguing.
They are fascinating.
Oh, no.
The Japanese translation of the gratitude effect actually dives into this idea,
Okay.
explaining that magic triggers are basically like these cues that can shift our attention towards the positive.
Okay.
It's like setting up these little reminders throughout your day
Right.
to nudge you toward a more grateful mindset.
So is this like putting sticky notes all over my house that say be grateful?
Well, that might be a bit much. But the idea is similar.
Okay.
It's about intentionally incorporating gratitude into your routine.
Okay.
So, for instance, you could start each morning by listing 3 things you're grateful for,
Right.
maybe while you're having your coffee.
Okay, so instead of like reaching for my phone first thing in the morning,
Yeah,
I take a moment to appreciate, what's already good.
exactly.
What are some other examples of these magic triggers?
Well, you mentioned keeping a gratitude journal by your bedside.
Yeah.
That's a classic one. Or how about placing a specific object somewhere you see it often,
Okay.
like maybe a gratitude rock on your desk.
Right?
And every time you glance at it,
Yeah.
you take a moment to appreciate something.
So it's like a visual cue
Yeah,
to like shift your thinking.
exactly.
So it's not just about feeling grateful in the moment,
Right.
but about training our minds to like notice and appreciate the good more consistently.
Precisely.
Like we're building a gratitude muscle.
Yes.
The more we do it, the stronger it gets.
Exactly. The more we engage in these little practices, the
Yeah.
stronger that muscle gets, and the easier it becomes to just naturally find things to be grateful for.
Okay, I'm on board with the magic triggers.
Good.
Are there other techniques we can use?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The book, in both its English and Japanese versions, recommends writing gratitude letters.
So this is something I've heard about before.
Yeah,
But who exactly are we writing these letters to?
right.
Is it just like a list of things we're grateful for addressed to the universe?
They can be for anyone who has had a positive impact on your life.
Okay.
A friend, family member, a mentor.
Right.
Even someone you don't know personally, but whose work you admire.
Okay.
The key is to be specific about what you're grateful for and how it has affected you.
So instead of just a generic thanks for being awesome,
Right.
it's more like, I'm so grateful for the way you always listen without judgment.
Yes.
It makes me feel heard and understood.
Exactly.
Okay.
Taking the time to articulate those feelings, even if you never actually send the letter,
Right.
can be incredibly powerful.
Interesting.
It helps you savor those positive connections
Mhm.
and recognize the good that others have brought into your life.
I could see how that could be powerful, especially if you're feeling like down or disconnected
Yeah,
from people.
absolutely.
Okay. What other gratitude tools do we have?
Another powerful one is mindful appreciation.
Okay.
This is about being fully present in the moment and savoring the simple things
Okay.
that we often take for granted.
So instead of mindlessly scrolling through social media while I eat lunch,
Right.
I actually like taste my food, appreciate the colors,
Exactly.
the smells.
Yeah. Or maybe you take a moment to notice the feeling of the sun on your skin,
Right.
the sound of birds singing,
Mm-hmm.
the way your dog greets you at the door.
Okay.
It's about consciously choosing to appreciate these everyday miracles.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of these gratitude techniques are about slowing down,
Mm-hmm.
paying attention,
Yeah.
instead of just rushing through life on autopilot.
You hit the nail on the head.
And the beauty is that anybody can do this stuff.
Yeah.
You don't need special equipment, expensive courses,
Nope.
just a willingness to shift your perspective.
That willingness is key.
Right, because gratitude's not a magic wand.
Right.
It's not going to instantly fix all our problems.
No, it's an ongoing practice.
Exactly. It's about consistently making the choice to focus on the good,
Yeah.
even when things are tough.
And the research shows that this effort really pays off.
Okay, so let's talk about the payoffs.
Okay.
We know gratitude feels good,
Yeah.
but does it actually change our lives?
Studies have shown that gratitude can have a profound impact.
Okay.
on both our mental and physical well-being.
Okay.
For starters, it's linked to increased happiness and life satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
When we focus on what we appreciate,
Yeah.
our brains naturally release feel-good chemicals like dopamine and serotonin.
So it's like a natural mood booster.
It is.
What about stress and anxiety? I can imagine feeling grateful might help with that.
Right.
But is there actually evidence?
Yes. Numerous studies have found that gratitude practices can significantly reduce stress and anxiety levels.
Interesting.
It's like shifting your focus from what's wrong to what's right,
Yeah.
which calms the nervous system and promotes a sense of peace.
Okay. And I've even heard that gratitude can improve physical health.
Yeah.
Is there any truth to that?
There's definitely a connection. Research has shown that gratitude can lead to better sleep,
Wow.
lower blood pressure,
Really?
even a stronger immune system.
So it's not just about feeling good, it's about promoting like overall well-being.
Exactly.
I'm starting to think this gratitude thing is less of a fluffy self-help concept
Yeah,
and more like a superpower.
it is a pretty powerful tool.
Okay, so let's revisit this magic of 17 seconds.
Oh, yes.
You mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
What's so special about that specific time frame?
Right. Well, the book explains that 17 seconds is the amount of time it takes for a focused thought to build enough momentum to create a measurable shift in our energy. It's about holding that feeling of gratitude long enough for it to really sink in.
So it's not just a fleeting thought, it's about consciously basking in that feeling
Yes.
of
For
appreciation
a specific amount of time.
for 17 seconds.
Exactly. And the author claims that consistently practicing the 17-second technique
Yeah.
can lead to some pretty amazing results.
Like what?
Apparently, when we focus on what we're grateful for in this way, we raise our vibration and attract more abundance into our lives.
Okay, now that's intriguing.
Yeah,
So it's not just about feeling grateful,
right.
it's about using that feeling as a magnet for even more goodness.
That's the idea.
Okay.
And the best part is that anyone can do it.
Mhm.
It's a free and readily available tool
Right.
for transforming our lives from the inside out.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to experiment with this 17-second technique.
I think you should.
It's amazing to think that such a simple practice
Yeah.
could have such a profound impact.
It really highlights the power of our thoughts and emotions. And speaking of power, there's another aspect of the gratitude effect that we haven't really explored yet
Oh.
that sheds even more light on its importance.
Okay, I thought we had covered all the bases.
Well, we've mainly focused on the upside of gratitude,
Yeah, the good stuff.
but the book also delves into the flip side,
Okay,
the role of ingratitude.
interesting. So instead of appreciating what we have,
Yeah,
we get caught up in what we lack.
exactly.
What kind of impact does that have on us?
That's exactly what we'll be exploring in part 3.
All right, so we've explored like the bright side of gratitude, the joy, the abundance, the potential for positive change. But now it's time to face the shadow.
Right.
What happens when we slip into ingratitude?
Yeah.
Is it really that big of a deal?
Well, it might be tempting to dismiss ingratitude as just, a bad mood,
Right.
but the book suggests that it runs much deeper than that.
Okay.
The Japanese translation in particular fronts it as like a disruption of that universal balance
Right.
that we were talking about earlier.
So instead of adding to the positive side of the scales,
yeah.
ingratitude kind of tips the balance towards negativity.
Exactly. And this can manifest in a lot of ways.
Okay.
The book highlights dissatisfaction as one of the major consequences. When we fixate on what we lack,
Yeah,
we become prisoners of our own desire,
right.
constantly yearning for what we don't have.
It's like that old saying, the grass is always greener.
Yes.
We end up comparing ourselves to others,
Right.
focusing on their perceived advantages and feeling inadequate as a result.
That's a great way to put it. And this constant comparison,
Yeah.
it breeds resentment, envy, and ultimately a deep sense of unhappiness.
Wow.
It's like a poison that seeps into every area of our lives.
So it affects not just our mode, but also our relationships.
Yeah.
Our work, our finances.
Absolutely. Think about it. If you're constantly feeling ungrateful for your job,
Right.
focusing on what you dislike, you're likely to become less productive, more prone to burnout.
Right.
That negativity can spill over into your interactions with your colleagues, created a really toxic atmosphere.
And financially, I imagine ingratitude could lead to some pretty bad decisions.
Yeah.
If you're always focused on what you can't afford,
Right.
it's easy to overspend or fall into debt trying to fill that perceived void.
Precisely, ingratitude creates this vicious cycle where we attract more of what we're resisting.
Right.
More lack, more scarcity.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It is, and the Japanese translation is very clear on this point.
Okay.
Recognizing these patterns and consciously choosing gratitude is crucial
Yeah.
for breaking free from that negative spiral.
Okay, so let's say we're stuck in that spiral.
Okay.
We recognize that ingratitude is holding us back,
Yeah,
but those negative thoughts keep creeping in.
right.
How do we shift our perspective?
Both versions of the book actually offer some helpful advice.
Okay,
One technique is to use gratitude affirmations.
okay.
These are basically positive statements that remind us of what we already have and appreciate.
Okay, so instead of dwelling on, I wish I had a bigger house,
Right.
we might say, I am grateful for the cozy home that provides me with shelter and comfort.
Exactly. It might feel a little forced at first,
Right.
but the more we repeat these affirmations,
Yeah,
the more we're actually rewiring our brains to focus on the positive.
interesting.
It's like planting seeds of gratitude in our minds,
I like that.
allowing them to grow and blossom.
It's about consciously choosing to see the abundance that already exists,
Yeah.
rather than getting caught up in what's missing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can see how that shift in thinking could make a big difference.
It really does. And another suggestion the book makes
Mhm.
is to surround ourselves with grateful people.
Okay,
You know, our social circles have a huge impact on our mindset.
right.
If we're constantly around complainers, it's easy to get sucked into that negativity.
Misery loves company.
It does, but on the flip side,
Yeah.
gratitude can be contagious too.
That's true.
Spending time with people who appreciate the good things in life
Yeah,
can inspire us to do the same.
right.
Their positive energy rubs off on us, reminding us of the power of gratitude.
That makes me think about the importance of being a source of gratitude for others.
Yeah.
You know, if we want to experience more gratitude, maybe we should focus on expressing it more freely.
That's a beautiful insight.
Yeah.
Small acts of kindness,
Mhm.
a genuine thank you, a heartfelt compliment, a helping hand.
Yeah.
These things go a long way in creating a more grateful and harmonious environment.
That's a ripple effect,
It is.
spreading outward from those small gestures.
Exactly. The more gratitude we put out into the world, the more it comes back to us.
The Japanese translation uses a really beautiful analogy to describe this.
Oh, yeah.
It says gratitude is like planting seeds.
I like that.
The more seeds we sow,
Yeah.
the more abundant our garden becomes.
Beautiful.
Not just for ourselves, but for everyone around us.
That's a great way to put it.
So to wrap things up, gratitude isn't just a fleeting feeling.
Right.
It's a powerful force for positive change in our lives and in the world.
Yeah, we've explored the incredible benefits of cultivating gratitude,
Mhm.
the pitfalls of ingratitude,
Right.
and some practical tools for integrating this practice into our daily routines.
And remember that magic of 17 seconds.
Yes.
Taking a moment to truly savor that feeling of gratitude can really shift your energy
Yeah.
and attract more abundance your way. So as you go about your day, I encourage you to look for those little things to be grateful for.
Yes.
Hold that feeling for 17 seconds and see what happens.
I think you'll be amazed.
And here's a final thought to ponder.
Okay.
If gratitude truly is a universal law, a force for balance and harmony,
Mm-hmm.
how can you use it to create positive change in your own life and of the world around you?
Yeah.
Until next time, keep diving deep and keep those gratitude seeds growing.
Like that.